Okay, good morning. Thanks for your attendance this morning. We wanted to provide some updates to our community following that tragic homicide of Zion Brooks on June 24th at 8:15 p.m. on the 2200 block of 6th Avenue South. Our sincere condolences go out to the Brooks family. We're very, very sorry to see this happen to a young man in our community who was trying to do quite a bit in a positive fashion. But we're also today extremely pleased to announce that less than 48 hours after that tragic incident, we've made an arrest in the case. And I want to turn it over to our investigations captain, Bill Allfeld, to provide you some updates that we are able to provide. Bear in mind that we can't provide all of the details at this juncture. It's still an active investigation. We've got some significant updates that we can let the community know about. And we're going to ask you to hold your questions till the end, because we're going to not only touch on the incident, we're going to touch on, based on some of your questions previously, the work that's been done in the Arbors and some crime data, as well as some new technology and partnerships that have come to the department that help us solve these types of crimes. Captain?
All right. Thank you, Chief, and thank you, everybody, for being here. I have a brief written statement that I'll say, and then we'll move it on to Lieutenant Christensen. So over the last 2 days, all units and teams within the Criminal Investigations Division have interviewed multiple cooperating witnesses, many of whom live in the Arbors, written and carried out multiple search warrants, processed multiple pieces of evidence, and followed up on multiple leads, which eventually led to the development of probable cause and ultimately the arrest of a suspect in this case. Yesterday afternoon at approximately 3 p.m., that suspect, Amare Logan, also known as Javante Logan, was arrested for murder in the death of Zion Brooks. He is currently being held at the Cass County Jail. There is still a great amount of work to do in determining why this occurred, and this case and this incident is still very actively under investigation. The Criminal Investigations Division is still working tirelessly to follow up on leads, log evidence, and complete documentation of their investigation into this incident. We know that there are multiple individuals who either witnessed this incident or have information about this incident. Please do not assume that we know all of the details or have obtained all of the information about this case. If you have information, please contact the Fargo Police Department so that we can speak with you. I would like to point out the fact that hard work and teamwork between the Criminal Investigations Division and our metro area partners, Metro Street Crimes, the Moorhead Police Department, and the Cass County State's Attorney's Office, which led to the quick apprehension of Amare. This was a great piece of investigative work. Late into yesterday evening, our team conducted 2 search warrants within Fargo and 1 within Moorhead. One of these search warrants provided multiple firearms, one of which was stolen, the other illegally modified, another which matches the caliber of the weapon used in the incident. Thank you to all of your hard work and dedication and efforts in solving and working towards solving this case. We'd also like to point out that many tips from the public generated by the public and the social media posts from the Fargo Police Department were very helpful in this case. Our department's victim service specialist, a recently added resource within the last year, has been working closely with the family of Zion Brooks and is offering needed support services to assist them. And we would also like to extend our condolences from the Fargo Police Department to the family of Zion Brooks. The death of someone so young is tragic. What I'll do now is I'll pass the mic to Lieutenant Christensen of our Special Operations Unit, which has our Intelligence and Analysis Unit added to it, to talk a little bit about our activity in the Arbors in the past year. So, Lieutenant Christensen.
Thanks, Captain. Good morning, everyone. I just want to talk a little bit about the Arbors and what our efforts have been there. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. We've talked about that before, certainly as well, especially over the last year. So I just wanted to kind of talk about what we've been doing, what we've continued to do, and kind of where we're at. So last year, we really started to make a concerted effort working with that management company that works at the Arbors, as well as the citizens that live there, to really try to help us interdict some criminal activity that was occurring there. We've had some really good successes. I'm happy to say that our crime numbers in that area have consistently gone down over the last year. They're still trending downward as well. There has been some management change at the Arbors that we're also continuing to work with. So our community engagement officers do a really good job of meeting with them on a regular basis. We really are intentional about checking our calls for service on a weekly basis to kind of see where we're at. Our officers do a really good job of stopping there, doing community-oriented policing, making contacts with citizens, doing that type of thing to make sure that we're a presence in that area as well, based off of what we've seen in the past. In the last year, we've gotten a lot more cooperation from individuals that live there and giving us information, because that's obviously very important when we get called there. Having that collaboration with the community to help us kind of solve the crime that is occurring there. And that's really helped us and given us success in where we're at right now. So granted, this incident that occurred there obviously shines a light on the Arbors again, but I am happy to say that we have consistently trended downward in our crime numbers there. And our collaboration with the management as well as the citizens that live there has really been a huge help in that partnership and bringing crime numbers down in that community.
Thanks, Lieutenant. One of the important things to point out here too is while at Arbors has been a focus, there's been a lot of successes there during this time. We can't prevent all bad incidents from happening. When a tragedy like this happens, I think it's equally important that our department has the capacity and the ability to quickly solve this crime. And in this instance, once again, that's been demonstrated. At least we are bringing some closure to the family, as bad of an incident as this is, and we are holding the perpetrator accountable. And we are taking them off the streets so they cannot victimize others or harm others. That's a big focus for the police department. So we're very happy about that. And in addition, the work that's been done in the Arbors has built up relationships to the point where we do have people that are working with us, that are providing this information. Now, they may not want to relay that to the media for obvious reasons, but we have a lot of cooperation in the Arbors itself, and it's those types of relationships that also help us quickly identify who may or may not be involved and provide us significant investigative leads. So from the Arbors community to the larger Fargo community, really just a ton of input to help us solve this quickly as well. And then our folks putting their nose to the grindstone and getting it done, very significant. The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is some enhanced new technology that the department has in place and is enhancing here in the very near future in terms of violent crimes and firearms, injuries, deaths, etc. So about a year ago, you may remember that we entered into a partnership with the ATF, who oversees the NIBIN system. That stands for National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NIBIN. And for about the last 3 years, we've actually been submitting all of our ballistic data to NIBIN. This is a technology that looks at ballistic data and correlates it with other crime scenes, or may correlate it with other guns. So as Captain Alfelt alluded to, we got 4 guns out of the search warrant. Those guns will be test fired as well, and that ballistic evidence will be compared to in the NIBIN system and possibly match it to other crime scenes, not just here in Fargo, but nationally. This is a national database. And if you recall, about a year ago, May of 23, when we had the homicide of the 15-year-old, Mr. Moore, I believe, there was matches from that ballistic evidence to shootings and shots fired in the Minneapolis area. So this is a tremendous technology that we have brought to Fargo, and we've been using it for 3 years, but as of about the next 30 days or so, we're bumping that up another level. The ATF, in partnership with the ATF, will be opening up a crime gun intelligence center in Fargo, in which the correlations that are done for that evidence right now are sent to Minneapolis. So there's a significant turnaround time for us to get those investigative leads as to whether or not a gun that someone had in their possession or ballistic evidence from a crime scene is correlated to other things. So you can imagine, the quicker we get that information, much more relevant it is. It's going to help us solve these crimes, or other agencies solve their crimes. We will already have in place an actual machine that we will be able to do the entries here. So our personnel will be trained by ATF so that we can immediately enter that ballistic evidence in and know whether or not we've got correlations very close in time to the actual, getting that evidence logged and getting it into our custody. So that's a very excellent partnership with the ATF that we will also be opening up on a regional basis. Tomorrow I'll be meeting with other regional leaders who are aware of this, but we haven't talked in detail. But Cass County, Clay County, Moorhead, West Fargo, other entities in our geographic region will have the ability to bring their ballistic evidence here to enter it into that system for the same benefit. So again, this is not only enhancing investigations, it's going to help us keep all of our communities safer. Many of these perpetrators are not involved only in crime in one city or one area. We can see, and there's huge data from the ATF showing the trends in, and I don't forget their number, but it's a large number of firearms ballistic correlations that they have made, and that system's been in place for many years. So another piece that we are bringing here to the Fargo community, and our department will spearhead in partnership with the ATF. I think absent that, we're happy to take any questions, and again, thanks to the state's attorney's office for their assistance as well in terms of moving this towards prosecution, but we're happy to take any questions.
I guess the big question, do you know and can you reveal what this was all about?
Still part of that active investigation. Not able to talk about that this time.
Do you know, though? Do you have
Still part of the active investigation. Not able to talk about it this time.
Forgive this similar line of inquiry, but you mentioned NIVEN, and NIVEN is something that's been folded into the SAFER initiative, which is involved with the state's attorney's office. I think you guys can understand the optics of this investigation. Is there any comments that you can make regarding the SAFER initiative and how it might play into this specific incident?
Sure. Well, and we had NIVEN here for a couple of years, and it will get integrated in. That's the U.S. Attorney's Office, actually, with that particular grant program. And so that, knowing that we're enhancing that operation adds to that grant opportunity as well to, again, kind of go after violent crime. We are lucky in our area here in Fargo, in our region, that we don't have significant violent crime, but one is obviously too many. So I think we are seen as uniquely positioned to really get in front of violent crime and to quickly douse it and identify those that are involved quicker and keep that safety level that we have in Fargo where it is, unlike unfortunately a lot of other cities where firearms violence is out of control and they can't keep up with the investigative leads and the amount of evidence and shootings. And the other correlation here too as well is narcotics trafficking. We have significant narcotics trafficking in this area. We've got 2 interstates going through. We're near the Canadian border. And also along with narcotics is guns trafficking into Canada is a huge thing as well. And so along with narcotics comes firearms. And so we have the ability to not only search that ballistic evidence in our region, but nationally. So if we get someone up here that's got a load of fentanyl from Texas and they've got a firearm on them, we'll check that gun not only in our region, but we can check specific states or the whole southwest part if we want to do that and see what other crimes will be correlated. And so that, again, just adds to that whole SAFER initiative.
Anything you can tell us about the arrest? I understand, I know where it happened, but if he was in a car, on foot, if it came from a tip from the public about that car, anything?
Yeah, our investigation led to a possible location of our suspect, and once that suspect was located, he was located in a vehicle. That vehicle was followed. A very public traffic stop was made. Everybody, there was a lot of video, a lot of pictures that were released in North Fargo on 12th Avenue North, and our suspect was arrested out of that vehicle. He was with a family member in the vehicle.
And so in relation to the cooperation received from residents at the Arbors, is this citizens volunteering information to the police, or is this through the work of confidential informants?
These are citizens that are volunteering information to the police throughout the investigation. So.
And maybe this has been answered already, but I know that 2 vehicles were speeding away from the scene that night. The other vehicle was found. Were there any suspects? Was that unrelated? What can you tell us about that?
Well, both vehicles are found. Both were related to the incident. And understand that when we put out posts like that, it could be the suspect vehicle, it could be witness vehicles. There could be many reasons why we're looking for that vehicle. And so both vehicles were located, and we've spoken to individuals that were related to those vehicles.
2 questions, one playing off his question.
Mm-hmm.
will anyone else face charges? There were 2 vehicles. Will anyone else be charged?
So we're still talking to multiple people. We're still going through the evidence. We still have a lot to find out. And so that's still under active investigation if there'll be other charges brought to people.
I know there's been a lot of work done at the Arbors over the past couple of years, federal, locally. Do you think if this maybe happened, and I realize this is just a crystal ball question, but if this happened 3 years ago, you may not have gotten the cooperation that you did for this investigation?
I think that the work that's been going on over the last few years, and especially within the last year, has really helped our relationship with that community. So I do not believe we would have received the same cooperation from within the Arbors 3 years ago that we did today.
Following up on the statistics, the decrease in violent crime that was mentioned, is that something that would be reflected in the past year's report, which was released, earlier this year? Or are there updated statistics that would be available to the public if they were interested in seeing, specifically how things have been transpiring over, say, the past 6 months?
The report that we were referring to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lieutenant Christensen, goes through June now of this year. And so I don't know if you want to, we do have statistics that would be through June, I believe it was 23rd of this year. So.
You mentioned at the beginning, just briefly, that the victim was somebody who was trying to do some good in the community. Anything more you can say about the victim?
Really, this is coming from the investigation and family, but an individual that had moved here looking for, I guess, a fresh start, and by all accounts was an upstanding person, wasn't involved in criminal conduct, worked with the people in the Arbors and aiding them and trying to keep unwanted individuals from buildings. And so really just a good community member that was trying to work with everyone else to keep that area safe. So it's really a shame that this happened to him.
Can you say where he's from, and does he have any family around here? You said he just moved here recently.
He's from Georgia, and no known family members in the area.
And so just following up on that question, was he a resident at the Arbors, or was he someone who was sort of doing, I guess you might call it volunteer work to help?
He was a resident of the Arbors. Yeah.
Was anyone helping Mr. Logan avoid being arrested? And was that a strategic takedown on the bridge because you're kind of trapped there as opposed to having several ways out?
For your first question, that's still under active investigation. We're not sure if anyone was aiding Logan in running from us or hindering our investigation. As for the second question, yeah, that was a strategic place that we would be able to stop that vehicle to limit the areas that someone might be able to run or flee. And so that traffic stop was done in that location for that reason.
Speaking of probably under investigation, do we have any information on a prior relationship between Brooks and Logan?
Can't comment on that at this time.
Okay. One more? Okay, one more, Matt.
I just want to confirm something. So did you find then the murder weapon during those search warrants, or are you just saying guns were found? Was the actual firearm used in the homicide located?
So there were 4 guns located in one of the search warrants. One of them, the caliber is consistent with what we believe the caliber used in this incident. We're still going to have to put those weapons through a lot of ballistic testing to see if it was the gun used in this incident or not.
And can you say where the cars were found?
Where the cars were found, I can't comment on that.
Okay, and I promise the last question. Did the shooting happen right around 8:15, or did someone discover the victim in the parking lot and it had happened prior?
There were multiple individuals present while the shooting occurred in the area. And so it occurred at 8:15, 8:16, right at the time of call.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. As we obtain more information, we're happy to provide that to all of you. Appreciate your attendance. Thank you.